Hello and welcome to English 111, Johnson Community College, Fall 2025. This is your professor, Jason Morgan. All right, so we are starting Module C. So Module C and Module D are kind of connected. We are going to be working on a research. So if we sneak ahead, we're going to end up writing a research essay. That's really kind of what Module C and Module D kind of build up to. This big assignment here. Well, I say big. It's a significant assignment. Okay, and so Module C is all about helping you figure out what you're going to write and get all the information you need. So when it comes to actually writing the paper, then you'll have a clue. You'll know how to do it. Yeah, it's kind of cool that way. All right, so for this week, we'll go ahead and get to Module C. So let's go over to modules. Boom. And we'll go down to Module C. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so again, for this week, we have the magic word quiz. And again, I will say that at some point during this video. Okay, and now exploring the concept. So let's go ahead and just click on this link right here for a second. Okay, so there's this chapter here about exploring the concept, and then there's like an assignment for in the Smart Book. Now, so you're thinking, okay, I have to write a research paper. Now, this is a little bit different from maybe what you've done before. The purpose of this essay is not to persuade your audience. So you're not writing an argument or persuasive paper. You're writing a research paper. So you can pick a topic that you want to know more about, okay? And you have to be able to find sources that are credible. What I mean by credible is like that they are believable because they come from a believable source. And that's a lot more you're going to cover in English 112. So, for example, if you're like, if you're like, hey, you know what? I believe the moon is made out of cheese, and I'm curious on what kind of cheese it's made out of. Okay, folks, the moon is not made out of cheese. Okay, so it's going to be very hard to find any credible sources that says yes, the moon is made out of cheese. Now you may find some stuff on the internet that says, oh yes, here's the proof, but where are they getting their information from? Okay, so it's not to persuade your audience, but it's to learn and to expand your knowledge on a topic. Okay, so you might want to start with a couple of different ideas. So again, this will just kind of help you kind of figure out what you want to write about. Okay, now again, remember all topics must be civil, respectful, and supportive of an inclusive learning environment for all students. So now that doesn't mean, okay, because there are students who write about, let's say, LGBTQ topics, or they write about religious topics and stuff like that, okay? That's not necessarily insensitive to others. You may have folks that don't have the same belief system as you do on any particular topic, okay? But it's more when we get into things that are really kind of more hate driven, I guess. Does that make sense? So if you have any questions, you'll get more information and understanding of what would be good topics and what would not necessarily be good topics. Okay. All right. So that is kind of the concept that we're going to be working on. So this will kind of help you kind of start to generate some ideas. But there's more in this module. This week at least, is basically all designed to help you kind of get started. Okay, so this one helps you kind of explore different concepts, and then in C3 here, this will actually help you learn how to plan a research project, finding some sources, and there's actually an activity in your smart book, and this will, again, this is an assignment, but it's done through smart book. So this will help you learn how to find sources, because it is a research topic. Okay, but wait, there's even more help. Okay, evaluating and reading sources. Now again, we talked about that we want to find good sources. So if I use the example, if someone were to say to me, hey, I heard that we don't have to do any work in Module C, so I didn't do any work. Somebody, student emails me that, and I'm like, well, where did you hear that from? And they're like, oh, another student told me that. They said that we decided not to do Module C, so there's no work on it. So I decided not to do any work for Module C. I'm like, okay, but you heard it from another student and you didn't question why they told you that. You didn't check elsewhere. You didn't check with me. Maybe you heard what you wanted to hear and thought, ooh, I don't have to do this work. So this is kind of the example of, critical thinking and do I really trust these sources, that I'm talking about? So there's that. Okay. And then C5, I'll just tell you this critical reading. There are those who, depending on your skill set and your, just who you are as a person, some people really struggle with reading and comprehension, and some people don't, and some people are somewhere in between. Okay, so this is more just some tips and tricks that may help you if you've struggled reading and comprehending and understanding what you're reading. This will show you some techniques that can help you with that. Okay, so use this as a guide and as a tool to help you along the way. Okay. And then let's see, the magic word is summer, folks. The magic word is summer. Summer, magic word summer. Okay. And then the last thing that we're going to be doing is, again, 3 more of those grammar and punctuation guides at least. Again, you can do more of them than just 3, but again, I would knock out at least 3 every single week, if not more, because it'll just help you. Okay. So again, by the end of this week, you should have a good idea of the topic you want to kind of write about, and you should have a good idea of some ways that you can do research and finding good sources to, so you can learn more about a topic that you're interested in. And you can, so that's it. Okay. And that's what we're doing here for this week. All right. Thanks.